In a significant shift in U.S. immigration policy, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced on May 29, 2025 that the United States will begin aggressively revoking visas for Chinese students, particularly those with ties to the Chinese Communist Party or who are pursuing studies in critical fields. This development, which underscores the rising tensions between the U.S. and China, has sparked concerns about the future of international academic collaboration and the potential impact on U.S. innovation. Rubio's declaration follows a series of stringent measures taken by the Trump administration aimed at curbing the influx of international students, especially from China, which has traditionally been a significant source of talent for American universities. The Secretary emphasized that the U.S. intends to enhance scrutiny on future visa applications from individuals from the People's Republic of China and Hong Kong. Under President Trump's leadership, the U.S. State Department will work with the Department of Homeland Security to aggressively revoke visas for Chinese students, Rubio stated, framing the initiative within the broader context of national security concerns. This announcement comes amid a backdrop of deteriorating relations between the two nations, which have been exacerbated by disputes over trade, technology, and human rights. China, reacting to this latest move, described the U.S. policy as unjustifiable, arguing that it is a politically motivated action that undermines the core values of freedom and openness that the U.S. claims to uphold. Mao Ning, a spokesperson for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, criticized the revocation as a demonstration of the hypocrisy inherent in American policy, asserting that it will further tarnish the United States' international image. Statistical data reveals a troubling trend for U.S. universities. In the 2023-24 academic year, approximately 277,000 Chinese students were enrolled in U.S. institutions, a stark decline from over 370,000 in 2019. Conversely, the number of American students studying in China has plummeted to about 800, down from a peak of 15,000 in 2014. This reversal reflects not only the geopolitical climate but also the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which disrupted global travel and educational exchanges. While Rubio did not clarify what constitutes critical fields, it is evident that both nations are wary of each other's advancements in sensitive technologies such as biotechnology, quantum computing, and artificial intelligence. The U.S. government has expressed particular concern over academic collaborations that could potentially benefit the Chinese military or enhance its technological capabilities. The implications of this policy are profound. John Burns, an emeritus professor at the University of Hong Kong, commented on the potential repercussions, suggesting that the aggressive visa revocation policy could do huge damage to the advancement of science and technology in the U.S. He highlighted the necessity for American institutions to recruit top talent from around the world, arguing that decisions should not be influenced by ideological biases. They need to be recruiting the best of the best, wherever they're from, he stressed. As the U.S. government continues to navigate this complex landscape, the focus on national security and ideological alignment poses a significant challenge to the traditional openness of American higher education. The future of American universities may hinge on their ability to adapt to these evolving policies while maintaining their status as global leaders in education and research. The ongoing dialogue surrounding these visa regulations will likely remain a pivotal issue in U.S. China relations, with potential ramifications for international cooperation in science and technology. In a significant shift within the U.S. Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has issued a directive enhancing the role of the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) team in Pentagon contracting practices. This development follows the impending departure of billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk, who has served as a special government employee and has played a pivotal role in advocating for efficiency within federal spending. Musk's tenure at the Pentagon, which began under President Donald Trump's administration, was marked by aggressive efforts aimed at identifying and eliminating wasteful expenditure across various government sectors. His influence has been particularly notable within the defense establishment, where the DOGE initiative was launched to scrutinize and streamline contracting processes. In a farewell message posted on social media platform X, Musk expressed gratitude for the opportunity to contribute to government efficiency and asserted that the Doge mission would continue to gain momentum, becoming an integral part of governmental operations. In Hegseth's newly issued memo, the Doge team is now empowered to provide input on all unclassified contracts, a move that signals a broader mandate for the team within the procurement process. Hegseth emphasized that Doge's oversight would extend to reviewing performance work statements, cost estimates, and other essential documents associated with contracts prior to their initiation. This approach is aimed at ensuring that the contracting process is transparent and accountable, aligning with the overarching goals of the Doge initiative. With the Doge team involved in the early stages of contract development, we anticipate a more rigorous examination of spending decisions, Hegseth noted in his communication to Pentagon leadership. He highlighted that previous collaborations with Doge have already yielded substantial savings, estimating over $10 billion saved through meticulous reviews of existing contracts. While the directive is designed to enhance oversight, it is not without its challenges. Hegseth included provisions to mitigate potential delays, specifying that if Doge does not respond to a review package within 2 business days, the procurement process should continue as normal. This flexibility underscores the need for the Pentagon to balance efficiency with oversight, particularly in urgent contracting situations or those involving contingency operations. However, the memo leaves some questions unanswered regarding the implications of Doge's feedback on procurement efforts. Hegseth has instructed the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment to establish a workflow process with Doge to clarify these interactions within 2 weeks. Such developments are critical as they will define how concerns raised by Doge will be addressed in real-time procurement scenarios. The push for efficiency and accountability in defense spending is part of a broader trend within the U.S. government, reflecting an increasing scrutiny of how taxpayer dollars are utilized. As Hegseth and his team continue to implement these changes, the success of the Doge initiative may provide a model for similar reforms across other government agencies. As the Pentagon prepares for a future without Musk's direct influence, the potential for the Doge team to reshape contracting practices remains high. Moving forward, stakeholders will be closely watching how these new measures unfold and what impact they will have on both the efficiency of defense spending and the effectiveness of national security operations. In this evolving landscape, the emphasis on fiscal responsibility and operational transparency is likely to drive significant changes in how the Department of Defense engages with contractors and manages its resources. In a striking revelation that Make America Healthy Again MAHA report published by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has come under scrutiny for its questionable citations. This document, touted by Kennedy as a compilation of gold standard science backed by over 500 studies, has been found to include numerous inaccuracies, including references to 7 studies that do not exist. The fallout from this controversy raises significant questions about the integrity of health policy in the current administration. Kennedy's commission report aims to address various health concerns in the United States, but it appears to misrepresent key studies. Epidemiologist Catherine Keyes, who was incorrectly cited as the author of a paper on adolescent anxiety, expressed surprise at the attribution when contacted by Notice. While she does focus on mental health and substance use, she confirmed that she had no involvement with the paper referenced in the report. Such misrepresentations not only undermine the credibility of the MAHA report but also highlight the potential dangers of disseminating misleading information in public health discourse. The implications of these findings extend beyond the report itself. They reflect a broader trend of skepticism toward established scientific research, particularly among figures associated with the Trump administration. Kennedy's previous controversial views, particularly regarding vaccines and environmental issues, have already sparked significant public debate. This latest episode may further polarize opinions on health policy, especially as it emerges in a time when trust in scientific institutions is crucial for effective public health responses. In a related development, Kennedy has suggested that government scientists be barred from publishing in leading medical journals, citing concerns over pharmaceutical influence. Instead, he proposes the establishment of in-house publications for research funded by the National Institutes of Health (NIH). This move, which has raised alarms among researchers and public health advocates, is seen as an attempt to control the narrative around health research, potentially delegitimizing taxpayer-funded studies. Critics of Kennedy's proposal argue that it could severely undermine the peer review process that has long been a cornerstone of scientific integrity. Dr. Adam Gaffney, a public health researcher at Harvard Medical School, articulated concerns that relegating government scientists to RFK Jr. seal of approval journals would diminish the credibility of their work and erode public trust in scientific findings. The backdrop of this controversy includes significant cuts to NIH funding and personnel by the Trump administration, which have already raised concerns about the future of research in critical areas including mental health and infectious diseases. The ongoing scrutiny of the Point Reyes National Seashore Ranching Agreement involving Kennedy's connections to ranchers and environmental activists adds another layer of complexity to the administration's approach to health and environmental policy. As the political landscape continues to evolve, the ramifications of the Maha report and Kennedy's publishing proposals will likely reverberate through public health discussions. The intersection of science, politics, and public perception remains a critical area of focus as stakeholders navigate the implications of these developments. The coming weeks and months may reveal whether this controversy will lead to calls for greater accountability in health reporting or if it will further entrench divisions in scientific discourse. The recent confirmation of Pam Bondi as Attorney General under President Donald Trump has ignited discussions around ethics and transparency within the Justice Department. Following a narrow Senate vote of 54 to 46, Bondi, the former Florida Attorney General, has stepped into a role that places her at the helm of a department with over 115,000 employees and myriad responsibilities, including the oversight of crucial investigations. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Republican, South Dakota, endorsed Bondi's nomination, highlighting her experience and commitment to victims of crime. In recent years, many Americans have lost faith in the Justice Department, Thune remarked, calling for a return to a nonpartisan approach in the agency. His assertion that Bondi would work to restore public trust contrasted starkly with the concerns raised by Democrats. Critics, including Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat, Illinois, accused Bondi of being too closely aligned with Trump and his administration's attempts to influence investigations, particularly those related to the January 6 Capitol riot. Bondi's appointment has not only raised eyebrows due to her political affiliations but has also sparked ethical concerns, particularly regarding her recent handling of sensitive information. Just days before her confirmation, Bondi released The Epstein Files, Phase 1, a compilation of documents related to the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. However, many found the release lacking, as most of the information had already been made public and significant portions were redacted. The delay in further disclosures has led to bipartisan criticism, with Representative Dan Goldman, Democrat, New York, openly questioning whether Bondi was delaying the release of critical documents at Trump's behest. In a recent Fox News interview, FBI Director Kash Patel, appointed by Trump, defended the pace of the Epstein files release, stating, "I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it." This statement has fueled speculation about the nature of the materials being withheld and whether they could implicate Trump, given his past associations with Epstein. The public and political response has been a mix of skepticism and concern. Critics have pointed to Trump's previous comments about Epstein and the ties that link them, questioning the motives behind the handling of the Epstein files and Bondi's commitment to transparency. Goldman, in his pointed letter to Bondi, emphasized that her obligation is to the American people, not to Trump, and demanded a clear explanation for the delays surrounding the Epstein documents. As Bondi takes on her new responsibilities, the implications of her actions will likely resonate beyond her tenure. The intersection of politics and justice in her role poses a significant challenge, especially as public scrutiny intensifies. With key investigations pending and the Justice Department's credibility on the line, Bondi's approach to transparency and accountability will be closely watched. The coming months will be critical as the public awaits further developments regarding the Epstein files and other investigations under Bondi's purview. How she navigates these challenges may not only define her legacy but also impact the broader perception of the Justice Department's integrity in a politically charged environment. As calls for transparency grow louder, the pressure mounts on Bondi to ensure that her actions reflect a commitment to justice rather than political loyalty to a significant ruling that has sent ripples through global trade. The U.S. Court of International Trade recently deemed a majority of President Trump's global tariffs unlawful, citing the improper use of emergency powers to enact these levies. This decision, announced on May 29, 2025, has prompted the White House to consider a Supreme Court appeal, as the administration seeks to maintain its trade policy amidst growing uncertainty. The court's decision blocks key tariffs, including the controversial reciprocal tariffs aimed at U.S. trade partners and specific duties targeting China. However, it leaves in place certain levies, notably those related to steel and aluminum imports. The implications of this ruling are pronounced, as Trump's economic agenda heavily relies on these tariffs to combat what he describes as unfair trade practices. Goldman Sachs, in a recent analysis, suggested that while this ruling represents a setback for the administration, it may not significantly alter the overall tariff strategy. Alec Phillips, Goldman's chief U.S. political economist, remarked, "This ruling increases uncertainty but might not change the final outcome for most major U.S. trading partners. We expect the Trump administration will find other ways to impose tariffs." This indicates the possibility of alternative legal avenues being explored by the administration to sustain its tariff agenda. As discussions unfold, U.S. trade negotiations with various nations remain active. Reports indicate that India is offering substantial tariff cuts while simultaneously seeking to protect its agricultural sectors. The European Union, too, is in talks with the U.S. regarding potential cooperation in critical sectors such as semiconductors and aerospace, as trade officials on both sides seek to navigate the choppy waters of tariff-related tensions. Corporate America continues to voice concerns over the impact of these tariffs. Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, highlighted the complexities of manufacturing in the U.S. amid tightening export controls that challenge the company's ability to ship products to China. Similarly, HP Incorporation experienced an 8% drop in stock prices after revising its profit outlook, attributing the change to tariff pressures and a sluggish economy. Retailers like Macy's and Capri have also adjusted their revenue forecasts downward, citing the adverse effects of tariffs on consumer demand. In a broader economic context, the Federal Reserve is contemplating how tariff uncertainties are influencing interest rates. Fed Chair Austin Goolsbee suggested that a reduction in tariffs could pave the way for lower interest rates, thus stimulating growth. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has expressed optimism about future economic trajectories, predicting a growth rate exceeding 3% within the next year, contingent upon stabilization in trade policies. The ongoing situation underscores the precarious balance between trade policy and market stability. With the legal landscape shifting and corporate strategies adapting, the outcome of the impending Supreme Court appeal could significantly reshape the U.S. trade framework. Companies, investors, and international partners are watching closely as the stakes continue to rise in this high-stakes game of tariffs and trade negotiations. As developments unfold, the focus will remain on how the Trump administration maneuvers through these challenges and whether it can sustain its tariff-driven economic strategy amidst legal and market pressures. In a pivotal moment for U.S.-India relations, U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick and Second Lady Usha Vance are set to address the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum USISP Leadership Summit 2025, scheduled to take place in New Delhi. This summit is expected to focus on crucial economic and technological collaborations between the two nations, highlighting the growing significance of these partnerships in a rapidly evolving global landscape. The USISP has become a vital platform for dialogue on trade, investment, and technology between the United States and India. Lutnick, who has a reputation for advocating pro-business policies, is expected to emphasize the importance of tariffs and trade regulations in fostering economic stability. Tariffs are not merely tools for revenue generation, they are essential mechanisms for protecting domestic industries while encouraging fair competition, Lutnick remarked, underscoring the administration's commitment to maintaining a balanced trade environment. The backdrop of this summit comes at a time when U.S. tariffs have become a contentious issue, especially in light of recent judicial decisions that have blocked some of former President Trump's tariff policies. A second federal court ruling against these tariffs further complicates the landscape for U.S. businesses that rely on stable and predictable trade regulations. This judicial trend may prompt the current administration to re-evaluate its trade strategies, particularly concerning India, which is seen as a vital partner in countering economic influences from China. The summit is also expected to address the broader geopolitical implications of U.S.-India cooperation. As tensions in the Indo-Pacific region escalate, both countries are keenly aware of the need for a united front. Vance, serving not only in her capacity as Second Lady but also as an advocate for education and technology, is likely to stress the importance of innovation in strengthening these ties. Education and technology are the cornerstones of our future collaboration, she has stated in previous engagements, emphasizing the role of youth and innovation in driving economic growth. In addition to trade discussions, the summit will feature panels on technology transfer, cybersecurity, and sustainable development, areas where U.S.-India collaboration could yield significant benefits. With both nations striving for leadership in digital economies, the potential for joint ventures in technology sectors could be transformative. As the world watches how these discussions unfold, it is clear that the implications extend far beyond bilateral trade. The decisions made at the U.S Leadership Summit 2025 could set the tone for future U.S.-India relations, impacting everything from economic policies to defense collaborations. Looking forward, the outcomes of this summit may well shape the framework for a new era of partnership, one that could redefine global alliances in the face of emerging economic challenges. The forthcoming dialogues not only promise to address immediate trade issues but also to lay down a strategic pathway for mutual growth and security in an increasingly interconnected world.